Hello, today I am so excited to be in your space. As you know, this is Learn with Agogo. As you can see, I've got slides on the system to present to yourself today. And on today's training, we'll be looking at structural query language for project management data analysis. And we will try as much as we can to dive deep into the analysis of project data. And the main reason for doing this training is that I hope to pass a message across to stakeholders, business analysts, and project managers on the importance of data for the analysis of project data. So it is not all about taking response from the project managers by way of questionnaires. We should be able to analyze those data and make calculated decision from the data that have been generated. And some ways you can generate data from projects are from your project schedule. You can be able to generate data from the questionnaire that you pass across to the stakeholder, trying to know the stakeholders and their interests, talking about stakeholders' influence and the people you need to communicate more to. So it's all rounded. In the course of executing the project, you are also thinking about the risk that might occur in the course of the project, and this information are documented. So we are going to look at a simulated generated data from Gmine, and I hope that at the end of this training we will have learned one or two things. So as you can see, I've got on here, I will be looking at data retrieval fundamentals using select and distinct. What are the difference between select and distinct? So when you do your select command on your SQL platform is to get a specific column from your database. And when you do distinct, you want a non-duplicate values to come out from that column. So these are some of the examples we'll be looking at in the course of this training. And also we'll be looking at using the where module. We'll be looking at using comparison operators like equal to, not equal to. We'll be looking at greater than. Let me align those. So this is equal to, not equal to, and this also is not equal to. We've got greater than, less than, or greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. So we will be considering those in the course of this training, and also we hope to dive deep into using these different commands to analyze the generated data that we've got. So we'll be using select all or select using specific columns name like project ID, project name, project status, that is the progress, what is the status of the project. So this information you would have generated from your questionnaires that you've passed across to the stakeholders, or from your project management tools like your Microsoft project, your P6 Primavera software, and your Project Libra, depending on what you are making use of. In the case of those that are using Trello and the like, they can also get this data analyzed. So, and we will also be looking at combining conditions, which is and or, and also analyzing this difference. So what is an and what is or? So it's like you want to know data, let's say what information is in A and B, and what information is in A or B. So in the process, I will expatiate on those. So we are just running through the slide just to understand what we will be gaining in the course of this training. So on this training, we'll also look at analytic reporting using the count, sum, and group by. So for the counts, you are counting the numbers of row or non-nulls values. So you want to count the non-null values or the numbers of rows. So when you say a value is null, it is an empty data. So non-null value means a data that have got information on it. Okay, so we've got the total counts, which is you are counting the total count of the tasks that has been executed. Those are some of the examples that will be looked at on the course of this simulation training on data. And we'll be looking at summation as well. You want to submit the total budget across the total amount cost for all the budgets. And you want to also look at finding the average, that is finding the average. You're using this function to find the average of completions. So in the con here, we've got a typical approach on how you can analyze a data on SQL. You can do your select, and you are looking at one of those columns, which is the project manager ID. You get your project manager ID, and you are summing the budget values as total budget value. So as is giving the name, an aka value, an aka name, as also known as, to this sum budgeted value. So you will be selecting this information from your budgets, and you are grouping it by this project management ID. And you can order it by the total managed budget in descending order. So those are some of the things I will be briefing you on that training. So here we are talking about connecting data sets. Connecting data sets, you want to connect data set using inner join, left join, and right join. And you want to use full join. But let me see if I will not be talking about full join on this one, but we've got full join as well. So you need to dig back into memory lane, where we are going to look into sect. So you have to have knowledge on sect to be able to appreciate these joins. On here, we'll be talking about modify project records. How do you modify project records? You will be using insert approach to add new employee. You'll be using update to change data for existing records, and you want to delete data from the system. You will have to use the delete function. Excuse me. So these are some of the things that you will be doing on there. So for the other slide, we've got schema modification, where you do your drop and alter. And I will just run over those. And these are the documents that we referred to in the course of this training. And you can see them highlighted. So we've looked into our slides, and now we'll be analyzing those information that was generated from the diverse project. So now we have opened our workbench on here. So all I need to do is to click on the new button to open up a new SQL file. So on the SQL file, we can be able to create a database for the project. And remember, this is a simulation data, not a real life data, so that everybody is protected. And now I'm gonna open up that so we can work with those. So first thing first, you want to ensure that you don't have an existing data or an existing database with the name of the project you are creating on your SQL. So by considering that, what do? You drop any existing data with that name. So on here, we're going to be dropping that data. So I'll say drop database if exists. So, and as is project projects simulation database. Okay, that is the name we'll be giving it, and we'll close that with our semicolon. And next thing to do is to create a database. Create database. With that very name, project simulation database. And let's run that. So that has been created on there. So what next? We use that very database that has been created. Projects simulation database. Okay. So you can see on here, that is what we'll be using. Okay, so now we want to create all the necessary information for our database. So first thing first, we want to, for efficiency, we want to drop any data that has got that name. Just drop those as well. Table if exists. You know, it's not cap sensitive, but I'm just adopting the use of capital letter. Say tax resources. Okay, so let's just copy this. So that is for the tables that we will be creating. We want to create 5 different tables. Okay, for speed. So let's change this name. So that's for tax resources. This is for cost summary. And the next one is for resources. And the next one is take tax that will be used. And the next one is projects, the different projects that we'll be considering on this simulation. Okay, so let's run that by highlighting all this and run it. So you can see all that table, if they exist, they are now dropped. Okay, so now we can create we can create a table for we can create our columns for the table project. Okay, so let's create that. You say create table projects, and enter. Do 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the standard project ID integral. Primary, that's our primary key. Let's separate this one. This is better like this. Project ID, project name. It's gonna give me too many stress. Okay, let's do it like this. Take that out. Project ID, project name. Project name, let's do the camel section. Camel style, okay. Project name. Text. Do clients. Client name. Okay. Client name will come in text. And date. And then date, we want to do a start date of the project, when the project started. It will come in date, end date of the project. Date, and budget, to be in decimal places. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's see. Open bracket, and let's close that bracket. Project ID integral, right. So now we can create that table. So that table has been created. So for us to confirm if it has been created, we can just do this. Say select from project underscore simulation underscore database dot projects. Let's run that and see. Right, so it was successfully created, as you can see on here. Now that we have confirmed that the table has been created, the next thing to do is to insert the data into that table. Continuing from where we stopped, looking at this section, we've been able to create our table using these commands, and on here, using those scripts, and on here we want to select. That is the reason why we've imputed that information there. So the second, so what we want to do next is to impute into these cells the various data. Okay, so how do we go about that? It is by using the insert into. Okay, so I will do my insert into, and I'll specify the table that I want to insert it into, which is project. Okay, insert into project, and I'm gonna determine the rows, the columns that I want to insert them into, and those columns are already written on here. So all I need to do is to say project ID, comma, project name, comma, client's name, comma, start date, comma, end date, comma, budget. Okay, so close that. After closing that, bear with me. And after closing that, we can include about that again. So with this command, we can check what we've done. So as you can see, we've got that table created on there. So the next on our agenda is to insert data into those cells that we have created. Okay, so now is to insert those data. So we use the insert into, and we specify the table that we want to insert it into, and we specify the columns that we want that to go into. Okay, which are, these are the columns that we've previously created. Start dates, end dates, and budgets. Okay, then we close the bracket and we'll come to the next row and say the values. That is the values we want to go into those tables. Okay, so the first one is the ID. So we want the ID to start with 0, 1, 1, 0. Okay, let's use the value 0, 1, 1, 0. we've previously used on our previous project, and we say the next one is duplex. Construction. We use quote, double quote, and let's just use one for simplicity, okay? Double quote, open, green. So this information, they are generated using Gemini Limited. And let's impute our dates. Start date 2010 2025 hyphen dash 01 dash 10. Okay, close, comma, starts 2025 06 30th and 120,000 and those double quotes. So that is the value we want to insert in there. So we can do those for more than one value. So we can do those, say 1, 2, 3, 4. But let's just try one first and see. Let's run it. Okay, you can see that has been created. There was no issue. And let's come here again and let's open up. Let's open up the table. So you can see that has been created successfully. Okay, so in same vein, we will adopt that approach in creating those tables. Okay, so we want to also create on here, we want to create the other, let's go back, we want to create these other tables. So we'll be looking at creating the tax table. So let's create the tax table. Say create table. So let me just say create tax table. Yeah. So let's say create, like the command we previously used there, and say table. No tax. Create for tax, and open bracket 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say tax. Let's start with small letter tax ID. And tax ID, we want it to be integral. Primary key and project project ID. We want it to be integer. Okay. And tax name. Tax name, we want it to be as a text. And the next is start dates. We want that to be as date. And the end date, we want that to be as date as well. And we want the status. We want to know the status of the project, if it has ended, if it is in progress, if it has started. We want that to be in text. And let's say project status there, okay? Say project status, projects, and status. Okay. And the next one is costs. Say decimal. And decimal will be in 10, 2. With me. Sorry, comma. What is that? Comma. And foreign key. Foreign key in bracket is project ID in bracket reference, and we'll close that. Okay. Then we run it to create those. So our tax table has been created successfully, and we want to check if that was created. Copy this previous command. Paste, and we'll put table on there, tax on there, and let's run that. So you can see that has been successfully created. Okay, so we want to insert